Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial. This segment's being brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy entrepreneurs and professionals get their books done to educate consumers, grow their practices, and to leave a legacy. I'm doing a series of spotlights on remarkable advisors from across the country. And joining me on this segment is Brandon Fink. He's the Senior Vice President with Claro Advisors. Brandon, welcome to the program.
Mark, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Brandon, tell me a little bit about Claro Advisors and specifically who are the types of folks that you help?
The one commonality between all the wealth managers at Claro, for the most part, is we've all come from the world of big banks, large broker dealers, large insurance companies, but ultimately sought a more independent route. We always had the philosophy of putting our clients first and wanted a more flexible place to ultimately do that. So we're a highly entrepreneurial place. We're younger than the average wealth manager in the industry, and I think that reflects with our use of technology and our attitudes. And as far as who we work with and who I tend to work with, it's motivated individuals. They care about their family. They've come into some wealth and ultimately are seeking financial guidance as far as their investment management, but really more broadly, their financial planning. We're very, I would say, tax aware, estate planning aware, and it's not just a sole investment management approach. It's really incorporating all the key elements of financial planning. We try and have great relationships with our clients and really be a partner to them in their financial journey.
When these folks come to see you, is there a common theme with the biggest concerns they all have, whether it's real or perceived problems? What challenges do you hear from folks?
I think it's a mix, Mark, but I'll speak to some of the recent folks that I've been working with because they're smart, they're capable, they're motivated. Many of them were finance majors in college. They have an understanding and of business in the real world, but it's just a matter of time. And I think folks have come to the realization, and I think COVID had something to do with it, which is, how do I want to spend my time? And time best spent with the kids, with my family, focusing on my own career, and really wanting to hand off the financial piece of it to someone that is ultimately looking at the financial world 24/7. I mean, I always say no two clients are alike, and I've had the whole gamut of different let's call it pain points that folks sought remedies for. But more and more, I'm seeing people just come to the realization that my time's valuable and I don't want to spend it managing my own financial life.
So you work with a lot of folks that are financially savvy,
I'd say so.
but they don't do it full time. So are
Yeah.
in this world of sort of information overload out there, and everybody looks everything up, just Googles everything, do you find that there are some common myths or misconceptions that people hold on to that you kind of hear over and over?
Well, I think we all suffer to a degree a bias of what we hear and what we see. And I think, we've all become inherently, I can speak for myself and some clients, almost suspect of what we read and what we see on the news, and we're aware of certain agendas. So what I think ends up happening is, we hear about ways people build wealth, and even particular stocks, particular sectors. We hear about them over and over again when we read the Wall Street Journal, when we turn on CNN. But that in no way, shape, or form covers the entire universe of financial planning. So oftentimes, whether it be a unique tax strategy, an interesting estate planning strategy, or even a different type of investments, it's just a matter of them not being aware of it. They're out there, but it goes back to really owning in and focusing on the world of financial planning so you can find these opportunities. If you are just call it a casual listener, viewer of the news, you're going to miss those opportunities. So, in regards to the information, it's certainly there, but our brains, we have to find a way to sort of cancel out all the noise, all the news noise that's constantly around us. And I'm finding, people are aware of the, particularly recently, some of the hot tech stocks and, the cryptocurrencies, but there's a whole investment world beyond that, we want to explore with our clients.
So linked to that, um, there's no one size fits all solution when these people are looking for information on the web and they think, oh, this definitely applies to me, but it may not. When you finally start working with people, do you find any common mistakes people make or pitfalls that they fall into that you could help them avoid?
I see a lot of over concentration, and some of it is almost accidental. So, you buy some uh, companies, you buy some stocks, or I'll tell you, Mark, what I see often is you're either a founder of a company, or you just have a lot of company stock, and just because you're receiving equity compensation, you have a tremendous amount of wealth within one or two particular companies. Uh, to be quite candid, that served a lot of people well because, in Boston, many of these technology pharma companies have done really well, but, we don't know what the future holds. So diversifying to a degree, but also doing it in a tax sensitive manner, as so many people are discovering with investments that have appreciated. Well, when you sell investments, unless it's in a retirement account, you're going to owe some taxes if they've made money. So being thoughtful of that, and working hand in hand with the accountant so we can just be thoughtful with that damage, I think is important. So I've seen folks being over concentrated in positions when they've wanted to sell. They've sometimes done so in a non-tax efficient manner. So I'm seeing that a lot, and I'll tell you, I've seen more and more of that the past 2 years. So we're owning in a lot of our time on that with folks that we're working with.
Brandon, what inspired you to get into financial services and help people and get their financial houses in order? How did you get started?
It's interesting because I never thought, as a kid growing up, my interests were basketball and hip hop. So it becoming interested in economics and finance was the last thing I expected. I took some classes, but was almost caught off guard how fascinated I became. And very much where I went to school, Boston University, there was this conventional route, which is if you're in finance, uh, you become involved in investment banking, and from investment banking, you join private equity, and then end up being involved in a hedge fund of some sort. Um, and I had internships in investment banking, but I also had internships in wealth management. And at some point in college, I realized my innate ability was much more in line with wealth management, because what inspired me and what motivated me, and quite frankly, what I had more of a natural ability of, was working with people, and understanding others, and helping people, and almost teaching. So wealth management was much more of a people facing. I always said investment banking, at least initially, was more of a computer or even Microsoft Excel facing job. So I wanted to be around people, but I also wanted to combine my love for people with, my nerdiness for economics and capital markets. So it married those two pieces together. And I consider myself incredibly lucky, because I don't think I could have picked a better career path for me. I've been doing it since I've more or less been 21. So I've really never looked back.
That's awesome. And your passion for it, the subject absolutely shows. Brandon,
Absolutely.
before I ask you my last question, for folks that, want to get their financial houses in order and they're now inspired to do so, what do you feel is the most important thing that they should consider when considering an advisor to work with? What should they look for in an advisor?
Yeah, this is a great question because I've spent some time talking with others about this, and even counseling attorneys and CPAs for how do you know, you're with the right wealth manager. I mean, there's a lot of things to look at. I would tell you, and I'm a bit biased because I am a certified financial planner. I think someone that's earned the CFP designation is important. That's not to say everyone that has a CFP is a great advisor, and everyone that doesn't isn't. But you do go through a pretty rigorous and well-rounded financial curriculum. You have to pass a test, which I did not at all find easy. And it teaches you to think not in a vacuum about investments, but to incorporate the estate planning, the tax planning, the retirement planning. So if you see CFP after someone's name, that's usually a good start. And you just want to talk to people and do they have a approach that you understand and can get behind? Um, do they ask more questions, or are they talking about themselves and the firm? When I have meetings with clients, initially the first 2, 3 meetings, it's more me asking questions because I don't think I can do my job well unless I truly understand my client. So you want to think about, is the person I'm talking to, are they asking me a lot of questions? Are they good questions? Are they asking me follow-up questions? So are they more focused on me, or is it just, oh, our firm's so great, we've outperformed the investment benchmark 5 years in a row? So that's my opinion. That's very much the guidance I've given to others when it comes to picking financial advisors.
Brandon, for folks listening that would love to speak with you specifically, how do they find you, connect with you, and learn more?
Pretty easy to find. If you search Brandon Fink, Claro Advisors, it's Brandon, F as in Frank, INK, Claro Advisors. Website pops up. You'll see my contact information, and feel free to reach out. And you can also reach out to Claro Advisors directly, just on our website, and mention my name, and it'll be forwarded over to me.
Brandon, this has been terrific. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with my audience today, and I wish it continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Mark, much appreciated. Glad to be here.
That was Brandon Fink, Senior Vice President of Claro Advisors out of Boston. And this segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done to educate consumers, grow their practices, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining me.